Recently, FreeGem, the creators of Robocraft, announced a new addition to the Robocraft brand, Robocraft Royale. This new game takes 100 players and puts them in a 64 square kilometer map to fight until only one remains. As the players traverse the map, they look for new robots which they can switch to, changing from a mech to a helicopter to a tank, etc. Some additions such as health pickups and crate drops are planned. This game is a pre-alpha experiment at the moment, where FreeGem is trying to judge community interest in the game idea and figure out the best way to build the game. This video is my personal feedback on the game as it has been presented thus far. The demo has not even been released yet, so obviously everything in this video is subject to change, and I can't judge the game from a first-hand experience yet. Nonetheless, I offer my constructive criticism as a long-time player of Robocraft. Let's begin with what I would love to see Robocraft Royale become. I would like to see a game where you start spread out on a map and small simple robots, and quickly work to find better parts and continually improve your robot throughout the entire match to build the biggest, most epic machine you can to defeat your foes. Crates can drop powerful parts that players fight over to claim as their own. Every crate you claim and every enemy you defeat gives you more parts and resources to build your robot. The ability to design and upgrade your very own robot is the most awesomely unique thing about Robocraft, and bringing that functionality into Robocraft Royale would set it leagues apart from other Battle Royale games. You're no longer just testing the skill sets of who is the best at playing a first-person shooter, but also who is good at taking assorted parts and quickly building a robot around them and adapting their playstyle to match. Building your own robot is difficult to do well and very time-consuming. As a long-time player, it can still take me upwards of an hour to build a robot. This footage here is me speed building a new robot design as fast as I could without making it a brick, and it took me a bit over 10 minutes, and it is a far cry from my best work. Having to stop in the middle of an active battle royale and spend 10 minutes to slap together a new robot without so much as testing it is obviously completely impractical for the fast-paced combat this game is supposed to bring. Awesomesoul suggested giving players only 3 minutes of protected building time, which would keep the pace of combat going, but that does have some other drawbacks. The first is that slow or inexperienced builders would have a lot of trouble putting together a functioning robot in such a short span of time. This makes the game frustrating, if not almost impossible for non-experts, and would greatly hamper the adoption of Robocraft Royale by new players. Forcing players to build their own robots from scratch during combat would kill this game before it even had a chance. The second major drawback is a little less of a concern, but still worth noting. For the players who are capable of building a functioning robot in as little as 3 minutes, there would be a tendency for said robots to be ugly as sin. In a time crunch, function trumps form. You'll be looking at a lot of gray boxes with guns, modules, and movement parts tacked on, which would make the game a lot less interesting and aesthetically unappealing. This robot you see now, I built in less than 3 minutes, and it is quite functional. Not every robot has to be a beautifully sculpted replica of the Enterprise, an intricately designed plane, or slightly terrifying ostrich, but having those types of robots being able to play is what makes Robocraft such a unique experience. Tight building constraints would make Robocraft Royale a rather ugly game that would be incredibly hostile to new or inexperienced players. That is why the development team for this game is currently planning to not have any building in Robocraft Royale, and merely supply curated robots from the Community Robot Factory. I understand why they're doing it, and I don't fault them for it, but I remain firm in my conviction that in-combat robot building is the key to taking Robocraft Royale from a pretty cool concept to one that is jaw-droppingly awesome. FreeGem said they wanted to have their own unique take on the Battle Royale genre. This is by far the best way to set themselves apart from the crowd. The primary concern with building in Robocraft Royale is that it would either have to be out of the box, ready to play robots built before a match starts, which don't allow any growth or development throughout the match, or it would have to be constructed under incredibly tight time constraints, leading to the aforementioned issues. Hybridizing these two building methods might allow for an easy-to-use system that would let even novice players get a working robot onto the field in only a minute or so, while allowing more experienced players to quickly customize their build style. A building system in Robocraft Royale would have to function differently from the one in standard Robocraft. It would have to permit you to quickly build a chassis and easily place guns or modules you acquired. Running out of a certain type of part would be a hindrance to fast building, so I think an infinity-style inventory should be used. Once you unlock or find a part, you can place an infinite number of them up to your CPU constraints. Speaking of CPU constraints, I think there shouldn't be an ultimate CPU cap, at least not at 2000. Assuming a player is successful throughout a match and can grab enough parts, why put in an arbitrary cap? Allowing them to build as big as they possibly can afford to in the allotted time of a match could be quite exciting. It means that there isn't a hard end goal. There isn't a best robot. You can always build it bigger, and you can always build it better. Here's my suggestion for progression through a Robocraft Royale battle. Every time you collect a crate, you earn a part, either a weapon or a module, which you can keep and use an infinite number of, or you can recycle and earn robits from. When you kill another player, you can keep or sell any parts that they had unlocked, and possibly earn a robot bounty depending on how highly ranked they were. When you want to upgrade your robot, you can enter a garage or teleport to the mothership or something comparable, and you get a very limited amount of time to ready your next robot, no more than 2 or 3 minutes. Your robots can purchase you a pre-built chassis, complete with cubes, struts, rods, electroplates, cosmetics, and movement parts. The more and better parts that the chassis has, the more robots it will cost you. The only thing missing is weapons and modules, which if you have unlocked, can be placed on at no cost. The player can quickly modify the chassis if they need to, but they will be charged for any extra parts they add. A dozen or so curated CRF chassis in the player's price bracket can be offered, in addition to any chassis the player has built prior to the match. Using this, a novice player could grab a mech from the curated CRF chassis and quickly place a laser Leviathan they just got in a crate, and then jump back into battle. A more experienced player could select one of their own designs, which is custom built for small shotguns, and in a matter of seconds be back into the fight. A really gutsy builder, if they so wished, could quickly tear down half of their cruiser and rebuild it to fit both a Guardian flak and a mortar at the same time, and hopefully not mess up anything too badly. Having a building system that allows a player to rapidly attach guns and modules to functional chassis would allow the flexibility that I know many Robocrafters want to see in Robocraft Royale, but at a level fast enough and accessible enough for almost anyone to use. I've quickly voiced some of my ideas on Robocraft Royale as it has been presented currently. The technical challenges of implementing a live in-combat building system, I have no doubt, is not an easy one, but offers so much to Robocraft Royale that I think it is worth striving for. I know I personally would much rather be testing my abilities to build quickly and efficiently rather than just how well I can point and shoot. Trying to basically build a megabot throughout the course of a 100-person free-for-all sounds awesome to me, and I imagine it does to many of you as well. If you'd like some more commentary on the design of Robocraft Royale, I'd recommend watching Awesomesoul's video on it, which I have linked down below. Regardless of what happens with Robocraft Royale's development, I think that it is a very cool concept that I can't wait to start trying out and getting to enjoy its progress. If you're a member of the dev team, I thank you for listening to my ramblings about things I scarcely understand, and hope that if you didn't find any useful ideas, you at least got some amusement out of my video. With that out of the way, have fun, and do take care.